Hi, everybody. It's Jesse Ziegler from Cycle News. That's Ryan Nitzen over there. We just wrapped up our 2023 250 four-stroke motocross shootout.
Yeah, and that's really the story this year is like the Yamaha has won our shootout at least the last 3 years in a row. But for 2023, it's completely unchanged. It's the same bike aside from just new graphics. 3 of the bikes are totally unchanged, like with the Yamaha, but then 3 bikes are completely changed for this year. So that's kind of the whole storyline is like, can these changed bikes, the KTM, the Husky, and the Kawasaki, which has a lot of changes, are those bikes changed enough to really take down the Yamaha, which this generation Yamaha 250F is just, I don't want to say unbeatable, but everyone knows it's a super solid platform.
Yamaha.
Unchanged. Totally unchanged for this year. Just new graphics. Last year, it got like a wider rim, a new spoke design, a new kind of brake setup in the rear. But other than that, no changes for this year. And even even the 2022 model was slightly changed, if you want to call that. And then 2023, same thing as this. Power tuner app, super cool. All right, on to the winner. First place, 4th time in a row.
Not a big surprise.
Yamaha YZ250F.
I think the Yamaha is going to continue to be really hard to beat until they do a rebuild on this bike and screw it up.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that I put that's like a little bit of something I'm worried about. It's hard. It would be hard to mess this bike up in stock form. It's so good. But the 450 got all new changes for this year, so I'm curious if the 24 250F is going to be all changed.
We have to assume it is. That's generally the pattern. They're not gonna sit on this bike for forever. They're gonna make a new model, and that might be the opportunity that somebody else comes in to win, because developing a new motocross model is extremely complicated. And even though you get it better on paper, sometimes the production run doesn't match those specs. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that can go on. I think that the Yamaha just performs at such an easy high level that every one of our test riders can get on it and just be like, well, that's comfortable. And then the top pro guy can get on it and be like, that thing rips. I can push that so hard in the jumps. And you're like, how can this one bike do all of that?
That's why it won, really. It had almost a unanimous score. I don't think anyone scored it outside of the top 3.
Right.
Our novice riders got on it and were like, this is so easy to ride. They could lug it around in 3rd gear, go up the hill, and they're like, it's still pulled.
Which is another benefit to this bike. Like, you can turn it into whatever you want with the tool that's included.
Well, when I rode it, they actually had a like no engine brake map and then a super over rev map.
Yeah.
And he was like, go do 2 laps on this one, then come in and and do 2, and then it's light on, light off. It felt like almost 2 different bikes. One of them was super flowy and free revving and like flow wherever. And then you turn that over rev map on and like you can just you can run it to the every last RPM. So to me, that's like just a really cool, like I said, I like the technology, and that part to me is really cool.
It's all through your phone. It's like a Wi-Fi connection to your phone. And the fact that Yamaha is the only manufacturer that has a mobile device connected motorcycle for dirt bikers who are generally skew younger in the market is bananas to me. Still,
it's super cool.
They're so far ahead of the game.
We do still have a couple complaints with the Yamaha.
Yeah, we're super picky.
The same thing as we did with the Cowie. Like, it's kind of loud. That airbox up front still does make a lot of noise. I would run earplugs if this was my only bike, but and then that front end, the front end feels a little bit wider, but all of those complaints kind of go out the window once you ride it. You're like, oh, it's not really worth mentioning because it feels so good. The suspension's so good. The rider cockpit feels so good that it's almost, you just kind of
power delivery is great.
You're like, okay, those don't really seem like that big.
Yeah, I mean, if you just say the best bike for people to compete on is probably Yamaha. The best bike for people to own and want to be on the best performing bike, it's still probably the Yamaha.
Yeah.
It's not a stretch to say those things.
Yeah, and definitely our faster guys kind of think of like, okay, if I was to just get on this bike and go as fast as I can, which bike is the easiest, right? That's kind of how a lot of the faster guys come to the shootouts. And all the fast guys were like, okay, I could just buy a Yamaha on Friday and then go race it Saturday and probably do good.
Yeah, it's noisier. It seems to have gotten quieter in the past few years from its peak noise, which really turned me off. But it's hard to beat.
I think the biggest comment too someone made to me on the Yamaha was they said, there's no bike I'd rather be on after 2 p.m. than this bike. The Yamaha, 2 o'clock at Glen Helen, 3 o'clock, it's the worst conditions you could think of.
Yeah.
And the bike's like so fun to ride. So.
Which puts you into, if you're shopping for these for racing, it puts you into that, last 5 minutes of the race, right? Where you're like, I've used all my energy. there really should be a white flag, but
Yeah.
now it's not a white flag.
And
And I still have to get around this track at least 2 more laps.
And your Moto 30 of the day.
And you're just beat down. Like this one is so easy to just stay in the line. It's not going to do anything that's crazy to you. And it has the power to like, you know, catch the next guy if you can.
It'll be a big thing to note next year if the Yamaha's all changed, if that's going to be an opportunity for the other guys to come in and take the win. Be sure, guys, check out. We're going to have a whole write-up in Cycle News Magazine, a weekly magazine. You're going to find that at cyclenews.com. All of our social channels, Cycle News. Follow us on YouTube, everything like that.
Yeah. Just keep watching cool motorcycle stuff. I don't care where you watch it.
We do care. CycleNews.com. Thanks, guys. We'll catch you next time.
Later.